From Bloomberg TV Africa, in Washington, Eleni Jokos, and in Lagos, Uche Okoronkwo.
Hello and welcome to African Business Weekly. I'm Eleni Jokos, and this week I come to you from Washington, D.C. for the first ever US-Africa Leaders Summit. It was the largest gathering of African leaders on American soil. Now, US President Barack Obama has been talking about a new Africa where the conversation shifts from aid to investment.
To the new Africa, the Africa that is rising and so full of promise, and to our shared task to keep on working for the peace and prosperity and justice that all our people seek.
Well, coming up on the show today, we'll be speaking to Ghanaian President John Dramani Mahama as the country seeks International Monetary Fund assistance after a sharp decline in its currency. We'll also be sitting down with Tunisian President Mohamed Monsef Marzouki. Macky Sall, the president of Senegal, will tell us about efforts to increase foreign direct investment into the country. This all coming up later in the program. First up, though, here's Uche with your news headlines. Welcome back to African Business Weekly. Tunisian President Mohamed Monsef Marzouki has called on the West to increase its support in fighting terrorism in the region. The country has seen an influx of thousands of refugees from Libya and Egypt, which has put pressure on the economy. Tunisia is now preparing for presidential elections later this year, and President Marzouki has warned that the next 3 months could be dangerous if the country doesn't receive international support.
I would like the US to do more in terms of supporting democracy and human rights in Tunisia. You probably know that we have had this revolution, that we are facing a lot of challenges, security challenges, economic challenges, and we would like to feel more support from the United States. I must confess that we are a little bit disappointed because we didn't get this support, and we expected more from Europe and from the United States, because what's going on now in Tunisia is whether the extremism would prevail or democracy would prevail, and if we're not really well supported by the US and by Europe, I'm afraid that we're going to have tough times.
What is the conversation that you're currently having with the US?
For the moment, our main concerns are security, because, you know, we are targeted by terrorists.
But do you think that we're going to start seeing some of the pertinent issues on the sidelines, such as security, overshadowing those economic conversations?
We do know that foreign investors and national investors will never come to Tunisia unless there is security.
Well, after the break, we take a look at how Senegal plans to increase foreign direct investment. Stay tuned. Welcome back to African Business Weekly. After Senegal's successful Eurobond issuance, the country will now focus on increasing foreign direct investment. Senegal is one of many sub-Saharan African countries to tap into the international bond market this year. We caught up with President Macky Sall as he hopes that the US will shore up private sector investment in Africa, particularly with a focus in infrastructure.
Ce sommet, qui est le premier du genre,
This summit, which is the first of its kind between the US and Africa, should certainly tackle topics of common interest related to peace and security in Africa.
The reality is that Senegal has been reliant on aid, but you're also looking to increase foreign direct investment. What portion would you like to see coming through from the US in the future?
nous avons un investissement direct.
We have a pretty poor record of FDI at the moment, but we managed to raise lots of resources on the international financial market.
The Eurobond was oversubscribed, a lot of interest coming through from the US, the likes of Asia and even Europe. At the same time, investors are now looking at various options to get exposure to African debt. How are you positioning the country as a destination of choice?
Le Sénégal a des atouts qui sont des atouts.
Senegal has important advantages. First of all, it's its political stability.
Well, that was Senegalese President Macky Sall. While the US has been criticized for engaging with African leaders at such a late stage, some are of the belief that now is the right time. African Development Bank President Donald Kaberuka says that perceptions towards Africa have changed considerably since the global financial crisis, and the continent is now better positioned to engage with international partners.
If this conference was taking place in 2005 or 4, the conversation would be different.
Well, we'd love to keep hearing from you. And with the Ebola virus killing almost 900 people in West Africa, we'd like to know whether you think governments and international institutions are doing enough to contain the outbreak. You can send us your thoughts on Twitter at Bloomberg TV Afri. And if you missed this episode and more, you can catch it online at BloombergTVAfrica.com. From me, Eleni Jokos in Washington, D.C., it's goodbye.